Hi, and thank you for viewing this presentation on Forex registration. We are going to go over today how to register as a Forex CTA, Forex CPO, and Forex introducing broker. My name is Bart Mallon, and I am the proprietor of the website forexregistration.com. I'm also a hedge fund attorney and specialize in Forex laws and Forex registration. This presentation is going to go over the basic Forex registration process, and throughout the course of this presentation we are going to cover many topics that are relevant to the Forex registration process, including the background, jurisdiction, and current regulatory regime. We'll go through the registration requirements, including the exam requirements. Then there's the disclosure documents, which need to be submitted to the NFA for review prior to registration being complete. And we have a timeline of the registration process, as well as a discussion of the compliance rules and any questions that normally arise. I also have a disclaimer at the very end of this presentation, so please review that. Also, I should note that many of the discussion points in this presentation is based on a current CPO and CTA registration process. Since there are no current rules regarding Forex registration which have been passed by the CFTC, a lot of this is conjecture, but it is very likely that most of the registration process is going to be just like the CPO and CTA registration process, which I have completed a great number of times and am very familiar with the intricacies of that process. To start off, we'll just define Forex for the purposes of this presentation. Basically, we're just talking about spot Forex, which is leveraged off-exchange foreign currency trading. Pretty basic definition. We just want to note that if you're not, the definition does not contemplate actual deliver of currencies. The spot market is known for doing what's called rollover of the currencies, so that there's never actually any delivery of the currencies. So I just wanted to provide that definition to start off with. When we discuss Forex throughout this presentation, that's what we're going to be talking about. To start off, we've got the different jurisdictions for the Forex registration. First of all, we've got the Commodities Exchange Act, which, as you probably know, regulates the commodities and futures trading, and also governs the way the CFTC governs the industry. Prior to the Farm Bill, which we'll discuss next, there was no explicit authority for the CFTC to regulate Forex activities. There were some judicial cases that applied some anti-fraud authority to the CFTC, but nothing explicitly in the act. Then last year, Congress passed the Farm Bill, and basically the Farm Bill required Forex registration. It also codified the CFTC's anti-fraud authority with regard to spot Forex, and also increased the minimum capital requirements for Forex dealer members and also for futures commission merchants. So the new Forex rules, the Farm Bill also included the provision that rules would be passed by the CFTC to discuss how the registration process would occur. Those rules have yet to be promulgated by the CFTC, but they should be forthcoming here shortly. We expect within the next month or so the CFTC will release those rules those proposed rules, which will then be subject to a comment period where the public can weigh in on the proposed rules. So ultimately, we're probably not looking at a registration requirement until most likely later on this year. But again, keep your eyes out and keep checking back in at the website forexregistration.com, where we will be following the CFTC and will report once those rules are actually proposed. Moving on to the regulatory regime, there are basically two levels of potential regulation, one at the federal level and one at the state level. For our purposes, we're mostly concerned with federal regulation, and federal regulation is done through the CFTC and the NFA. The CFTC is the actual federal agency in charge of making sure that the Commodities and Exchange Act is appropriately administered. The CFTC also promulgates rules under the Commodities and Exchange Act. The National Futures Association is basically the helper organization to the CFTC. It's very similar to what FINRA is to the SEC. It's a self-regulatory organization, and it's a member organization, which means that when you become a member of the NFA, your firm will become a member of the NFA when you register under the Forex provisions. That means that as a member of the NFA, you'll have to comply with their bylaws and their NFA rules. Now, there's also state regulation, and it's not very often talked about in the Forex context. But many states do have what's called commodity codes, and under those commodity codes, a state may have broad authority to interpret spot Forex transactions as falling within those codes, and therefore subjecting a manager who is managing spot Forex accounts for compensation to go through some sort of registration process, either under the state investment advisory laws or through the CFTC. So I mentioned that only as right now there's no federal requirement for spot Forex managers to be registered with the CFTC, but there is the possibility that states have laws on their books that would require that. It's a very complicated area of the law, and not very many people are familiar with state commodity codes, but I've dealt with them in the past through my hedge fund practice, and would be happy to discuss this issue with anyone in greater depth. You can contact me either through the Forex registration website or through my other website, hedgefundlawblog.com. Now we get into the actual registration requirements. How do you register? What's required, etc., etc. Now there's going to be two registration types. There's going to be an individual registration, and there's going to be a firm registration. For the firm, obviously, you're dealing with the actual entity, the CTA, the CPO, the IB, the FDM, and then the individual, you're either going to be an associated person of the entity or a principal of the entity.